Good morning, everyone, and we are happy that you have joined us today on our weekly child nutrition webinar. My name is Colleen Fillmore, and I am the Idaho State Department of Education Child Nutrition Director. And on this webinar, we have everyone on our Child Nutrition State Agency staff. We're all here ready to help you on whatever questions you will have. Again, big time thank you for everything that you're doing out there. We continue to get wonderful pictures, and Jessica has updated our PowerPoint from last week. We aren't taking any pictures out, we're just adding to it. So we're getting a rather wonderful, long, and powerful PowerPoint. So again, thank you. And if you have pictures that you want to send to us, please send to any child nutrition staff member, and we'll make sure that Jessica gets those. So for the agenda today, I will be doing a short introduction with some updates. Dominique then will be taking over. She'll be talking about some summer food training. Then Mary Ann will be talking about the summer food desk review that we are doing this year, which is the flexibility that we got from USDA. Then Melissa will be talking about Seamless Summer, some reminders and good tips that she has. Then it will go off to TJ for USDA foods and some information that she has in that arena. Then TJ will hand it back to me, and we will start going through the questions that are being submitted during this webinar. So let's go ahead, get going so we can have time for the questions. The first thing I want to remind everyone is we have updated our resource handout that is available on this webinar. The only thing that we added for this week, but it is rather significant, is a grant announcement that came out from USDA. And go ahead and look through that, see if you feel that it's something that you would be eligible for, or perhaps you know somebody that it would be eligible for that. It's very specific to some farmer information, some gardening, and things of that nature. The executive team and Department of Ed has also asked us to put that on the governor's website, so we will have that up there in the next day or two. Also, we are getting several emails, and thank you for that. We are encouraging these to continue to come in, but several emails on the possibility of reopening, and when that reopening does happen, with the uniqueness. And we have received several examples in our office asking for guidance on how to proceed. Every one of those we have been forwarding to USDA. We have quite a few calls and emails with USDA, and once we get guidance back from them on your specific questions, we will make sure and share that. So as a reminder, all of our information, our Q&As, our webinar, everything is archived and put out there on the governor's website. I have had a few people email me and say they can't find this information, so if you still can't, please shoot me an email, and I'm happy to give you some screenshots on how to get to those two different areas. Now, we announced last week that we in Idaho, we have first of all applied for every flexibility that USDA has offered. The superintendent of public instruction wants that flexibility for everyone, and we do too. We want to make things as easy as possible for everyone. We have put in for an extension on 2 waivers, the area eligible and the non-congregate. We announced that last week, but we still have not heard from USDA on that. Idaho is not alone in these requests. We have contacted and been in communication with several states across the nation that are in the same boat that we are in. So we will definitely get that information out to everyone as soon as we hear. And then again, we have these webinars every Thursday from 8:45 to 9:45, and we are very happy that you are here with us today. If you know a fellow sponsor or someone who is not on these, please share with them so we can get as many people on these and as much outreach and support as possible. So that is all I have. I am going to now hand it over to Dominique for the summer food training topic. And again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Colleen. This is Dominique, and I'm just going to give you a little update on annual summer food training, because amid all of the information that we have been providing to sponsors, it's easy to get lost in all of the emails and broadcast emails and updates. So just a reminder that this year we converted all of our in-person training into online training through the CNP Digital Learning Portal. And we opened these up in January and then the online trainings last month, and wanted to remind sponsors that you have, we put these online so you can complete these trainings at your own pace, but we do need these trainings completed before you start your normal, if there's such a thing this year, summer operations. And so I just wanted to go through the list quickly to remind you, in case some of you have forgotten some of the training requirements, that if you registered for the half-day refresher course, then that training PowerPoint presentation must be completed in the IDL, the CNP training portal. And if you were registered for the full-day training course, there is the Summer Food 101 PowerPoint presentation to be completed. Along with, we converted all of the PowerPoint training presentations and are requiring all sponsors to complete all 5 modules this year. And those modules, as a reminder, are the annual updated 2020 Civil Rights Training, the Summer Food Safety Training, the general explanation of the program, the monitoring requirements, and the training requirements. These are all available in the CNP Digital Training Portal. And as a reminder, once the administrative or the person in charge has taken all of these courses, if you will send your coordinator an email certifying that you have completed all of the training, mandatory training requirements, we will then check that against the portal to assure that all of the trainings have been completed, and that will help us be assured that all the sponsors have received all the training required for this part to start your summer program operations. And again, if you have any questions on where any of the materials are, information, please contact us, because we are here to help you and get you through this section of annual renewal. So please don't hesitate to contact us, and we appreciate all the help and all of the work that you have all been doing. And that is all I have right now for summer training, and I will turn the screen over to Mary Ann for updates on summer food again. Thank you.
Thanks, Dominique. Good morning, everyone. This is Mary Ann Leidy. I hope you all are doing okay. We can't say thank you enough for everything that you guys are doing. I know this week too, especially with the weather change and the rain and the continued meal service, we just really want to extend our heartfelt thank you to everyone for your dedication and hard work. I wanted to just provide a quick reminder regarding our announcement last week during the webinar about the summer audit this year. As we mentioned last webinar, the Idaho State Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, and as Colleen also mentioned, we have been given the flexibility from USDA to provide desk reviews to Idaho summer feeding sponsors this year instead of the normal face-to-face reviews. And this is really just to ensure that social distancing during COVID-19. So the summer 2020 desk review will consist of a survey questions, uploading of supporting documents on My Idaho CNP, and follow-up phone calls or emails either from myself or from Dominique. The link for the survey questions will be sent out before the weekend, so please keep an eye out for the broadcast email that will also have the instructions on what to upload on your My Idaho CNP. The sponsors that are being reviewed this summer were listed on the Summer Feeding 101 training and the refresher training. So if you have not completed that training yet, please be sure to do so that you are aware if you are being reviewed or not this summer. And then as a last reminder, the survey questions and the upload of the supporting documents on My Idaho CMP will need to be completed by Wednesday, May 27th at 5 p.m. And this is really to ensure that we are within the USDA waiver approved for the state of Idaho. That is good until June 30th, and so we want to make sure that Dominique and myself have plenty of time to review all of the necessary documents and again, conduct any follow-up phone calls or emails. And as always, if you guys have any questions at all regarding the operations or the desk review, please feel free to reach out to the state agency. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Melissa. Again, thank you everyone for all of your hard work, and thank you for listening to today's webinar.
Good morning, everyone. So as you know, renewal for the 2021 school year is now open to school sponsors. We have no way of knowing what is going to happen in the fall and if COVID-19 will still be a threat. So until we know whether or not we will have to operate under SSO, please do not complete your site applications in SSO. Not completing them will not have an effect on being able to submit your application packet. That won't hold anything up for you. Now, if you've started site applications for SSO, don't be alarmed. We can delete those, or you can. There's a delete button in the upper or lower right-hand corner. Don't be afraid to use it. If you are, just let us know, and we'll delete it for you. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just wanted to let you know that we're not focusing on SSO until we know a little bit more. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to TJ for USDA Foods. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. And welcome, everyone. It's always a pleasure to actually see the pictures and see your faces and have an opportunity to touch base with everyone. So we did have a little bit of information to share in regards to USDA for foods. First off, kudos to those of you who have been able to utilize your USDA foods in meal services to your community and your students in your area. I've heard from lots of people, there's a lot of creativity out there right now in terms of how meals are going out the door. And so we just appreciate your willingness to use all the resources that are available to you so that children are receiving meals. I do want to make sure that everyone is aware, much to our chagrin, most of our communications are via email. And so we know that you're all very, very busy, and I just want to touch base on a couple of important time issues in terms of funding. So there are still quite a few school districts that have not utilized to the fullest extent their available NSLP DOD funds. So if you are one of those schools, we did send out an email just as a friendly reminder to ensure that you know you have until June 30th of this year to utilize all of the funds in your DOD account under your National School Lunch account. If you are a school that for some reason does not foresee being able to utilize all those funds, I would appreciate just a quick email to the USDA Foods team at SDE.idaho.gov so that we can look at some form of redistribution. What we want to do is ensure that those funds get in the hands of schools that can use them, because the DOD program is one of those programs where your allocation is a use it or lose it scenario. So we certainly do not want those funds to not be utilized. So please make us aware of that. Additionally, we have made the decision, typically we would withhold any funding for summer food DOD allocations, but because of the extenuating circumstances, and many schools we are hearing are struggling with the costs associated around serving the meals in this unanticipated school closure scenario, we have released any school district that met the threshold for summer food DoD funding. Unfortunately, that threshold is very constricted because the entitlement value for summer feeding is very, very minimal. It's only about 1/30th of the entitlement value of an NSLP served meal. So we only have about 25 sponsors that met that threshold. They have been notified. The funds have been released. So if there's a way that you can utilize DoD summer food funds now just to get you through, and with all the uncertainty, we didn't want to withhold those funds because we don't know what the future looks like in terms of who will be operating a summer feeding program, who may not be, what type of waivers, what type of feeding services will be out there. So we just felt it was a better decision to allow you to tap into those funds if you need them. The other item that I wanted to make sure to go over is if you are a school district that is struggling to utilize your USDA foods in any capacity, you find that your storage is full and it just doesn't work for your particular scenario to use those, please reach out to us. We do have some school districts that have mentioned that they are completely out of USDA foods. So we want to ensure that what we don't do is have food sitting in a storehouse that could potentially be used in another community. So just let us know if there's a way that we can facilitate movement of those types of foods, even if it's just through communication channels. And then my final plug is to ensure that everyone is aware that the American Commodities Distribution Association is holding weekly webinars. Next week, we will have the opportunity to hear from stakeholders about inventory management during this particular crisis. So I think if anyone is finding that to be a struggle, it would be very valuable to go ahead and register for that ACTA webinar. Additionally, our very own Lori McCluskey from Northwest Distribution, who manages our deliveries and storage warehouse, will be a speaker on that webinar. And she actually wants to focus on some of the successes and challenges that we've seen in Idaho. So please feel free to participate in that webinar. If you need information about how to get on those webinars, feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to share that information in the website. So with that, that's everything that I have. Oh, I do apologize. One more thing. We were informed, unfortunately, Idaho was not awarded. We had spoke about the Farmers to Families food box program. While Northwest did submit a proposal, their proposal was not awarded at this time. However, only about half of the funds for the program have been awarded. And Lori assured me that they are going to resubmit their proposal and hope that we will get that award. So please stay tuned. It is disappointing, but it's just USDA is working diligently to try and make sure that foods are being sent out in all communities across the country. So with that, we'll just keep our fingers and toes crossed that somehow someone in our area does receive one of those contracts. And with that, I will now turn the time back over to Colleen so we can start our question and answer period. Thank you again all so much for everything that you do.
Okay, thanks team for all that information. That was great. Okay, let's go for the questions now. Okay, the first one, my district office keeps insisting there is a grant for child nutrition to help offset cost of supplies for COVID-19. I have not heard of one. Is there any such thing as this? I have a little bit to add, and I know that Linda already mentioned to check the handout that we have on the webinar. From what I said earlier today, we did attach some additional information concerning some grant information. A few weeks ago, we also introduced a No Kid Hungry grant. The last time I went to check at that, the link had been taken down, and my understanding is they had so many requests nationwide that they ran out of money. There has been some CARES Act money that we are still working with USDA on spending authority on where that can go. So far, we have not been given spending authority from USDA for that to go to local school districts. So once we get more information, we will certainly share that. But there are different grants that are out there that different nonprofits are putting out there. And again, on that handout, as Linda also shared, you might want to go and look at that. And I'm not sure if that helps with, what you are being told as far as that there are grants out there, if that covers that one, or if there's maybe more out there that we're unaware of. But those are the ones we're aware of so far. Okay, the next question, can we begin the regular summer feeding when the governor opens up the state? So Dominique, you want to take that one?
Yes, thank you. Great question. We're all waiting for the webinar today to see what the next steps are. But just as a reminder, the nationwide waivers for operations during unanticipated school closures, they have been extended until June 30th. And this means that all of the waivers allowing for non-congregate feeding, grab and go, parent pickup, and meal delivery to homes, among others, are included in this extension. Since we do not know what's going to happen with the rest of the summer, we do recommend that all sponsors continue operating using these flexibilities at least until June 30th. Because if you revert back to normal operations, those waivers are not part of normal summer program operations right now. They're currently under the unanticipated school program closures, and we're waiting for further guidance, but it is recommended that sponsors continue operating under these waivers to allow for the maximum flexibility for meal service during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. And Dominique's voice for me was kind of coming in and out. So if our audience could not hear some of what she said, let us know in the question area and we can have her repeat that, and maybe it was just my phone. Okay, the next question. Will there be feeding options should school be closed at any time next year? Example, like the emergency summer food program we are operating now. So Linda, you want to take that one?
Sure, thank you, Colleen. The next two questions are things that may happen in the future, and knowing that everybody is trying to plan for next year and not knowing what will happen, we've asked USDA very pointed questions on distance learning, split shifts, and USDA has brought that to their headquarters for answers. And unfortunately, it sort of sounds like they're in the thick of COVID right now, summer here and now, and they're now just thinking of what's going to happen in the future. So we've asked them, but we haven't gotten an answer from USDA on all the variations. As soon as we do, we will create a document, let you know via webinar. We will let everybody know the status of those questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Linda. I am going to read the next two questions, and just to let you know, as I read through these next two questions, the answer is exactly the same as what Linda just said. We completely understand the necessity and the urgency of the answers to these questions. We ourselves are sitting on the edge of our chairs, as all states are, wondering what the answer to some of these questions are. And so we do want you to know that we are trying very hard in your behalf to get the answers, just haven't gotten them yet. So let me read the next two. And just again, as you know, we have asked USDA, just haven't gotten an answer. So the first question is, should our district move some students to virtual learning? Can you anticipate there will be any funding to provide these children with meals, perhaps served off-site, especially in CEP schools? So again, we have asked that question, have not gotten an answer. Next question, did we get an answer from USDA about serving meals, breakfast and lunch as grab-and-go, non-congregate after June 30th? That is the waiver extension that I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, and I actually mentioned it last week too. We have put in an extension for Idaho beyond June 30th for non-congregate meals, as I know several other states are too, and none of us have heard. So again, we will definitely let you know as soon as we do here. We do appreciate your questions because to us it's very urgent, and we can see it is for you too. So we are all on the same page. Okay, so the next question, what is the survey that Mary Ann mentioned? So Mary Ann, would you like to take that one?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. So the survey that I mentioned earlier are for sponsors, summer feeding sponsors, who are scheduled for the 2020 SFSP summer reviews. And so if you are scheduled for one, you will receive a broadcast email that will have the link for the survey, as well as follow-up instructions on what needs to be uploaded into My Idaho CMP. Thanks, Colleen.
Yes, thank you, Mary Ann. Okay, these are really good questions. Another good one here. Are the claim rates for COVID-19 the same as summer food? So, Dominique, would you like to take that one?
Yes, thank you, and I will stick my face closer to the phone to be more clear. Yeah, the answer is yes. Sponsors that have been operating the summer food service program during COVID-19 unanticipated school closures receive the same reimbursement rate for operation under normal summer food program operations. So yes, it is the same reimbursement rate for summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you. And you sounded wonderful. Could hear it clear as day. So thank you so much. Okay, next question. With the issues related to meat processing facilities, will that impact our access to ground beef and other USDA meats in the fall? So TJ, that sounds like that's for you.
Yes, thank you. I did go ahead and answer that. And basically, although we're aware that there are some issues in terms of what's being discussed in the news, we have not heard specifically from AMS, who is the contracting service for USDA, that there is any current impact to awarded contracts. So we haven't heard of cancellations for our ordered trucks or any of those types of things. Naturally, it's a big concern. And if we do hear anything or start seeing signs of those things, I know USDA will let us know as quickly as possible. And then, of course, we will pass that information on to you. So at this point, we just have to hope that things sort of resolve in that particular arena. Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. Okay, next question. According to the Farmers to Families website, Grasmick Produce in Boise, Idaho is an approved contractor. Grasmick is the provider of DoD Fresh. Can we use them to provide a box for families in our area? They have only fruit and vegetable available. Also, there is a contractor in Spokane, Washington. Can Northern Idaho schools utilize them? So TJ, you want to take that one?
Yes, thanks again, Colleen. So this is a really great question, and the way this program was laid out is that vendors who were awarded contracts have to ensure that the boxes that they are providing meet all of the components for what is considered a healthy meal. So in other words, the proposals were supposed to include a distribution plan for boxes that would have meat alternates, canned and canned fruits and vegetables and or fresh fruits and vegetables, and grains. So all of the meal components that we would expect to be served to students. So that is one of the frustrations that we've heard about the awards, is that many were awarded, but the distribution plan was not fully identified. But whoever received the award, so in this instance, GRASMIC, they must be prepared to provide food boxes that include all of those components that I just mentioned. But we at the state agency are not part of that program. So GRASMIC will have to do their part to reach out and determine how they anticipate delivering those boxes and through whom, what stakeholders. So in GRASMIC's proposal and the other organization in Spokane, they may have identified food banks or some other source of community delivery mechanism, and I can't see what the proposal entailed. So we don't have that type of information. We did know what Northwest's proposal said, and we knew that they anticipated being able to utilize schools as a distribution method. But again, they did not receive an initial award. So unfortunately, this is kind of a complex situation, and we at the school level don't have a say in how that vendor is going to get those products out to their community. So we're kind of in the dark. And sorry I don't have more or a better answer than that. Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. And as our audience can tell, we have asked USDA a lot of questions, and we are hopeful to get answers on all of these questions very soon. And again, the importance of remembering we're only a phone call, an email, our webinars. We're really trying to reach out in all sorts of different avenues so we can keep you as updated as we are. Okay, so the next one was a question for Dominique that if I continue COVID-19 feeding through June, do I need to complete the checklist summary for traditional summer food?
Thank you, Colleen. And this is a great question. The answer is yes. The reporting requirements for announcing the program and providing the information to the health department have not been waived under this pandemic. And once things start to get a little normal and your district decides upon which sites to operate during the summer months, the checklist documents need to be attached to the application packet. And to put it in perspective, normally during the year, there are several times where site time, program operations change, or actual serving sites change. And as in normal operations, those changes need to be updated regarding notifying the health department, letting the public media know of the changes. And so it is, the checklist documents do need to be uploaded and can be updated as the summer progresses. Again, this is a very different year and we don't know the changes that will happen, but we want to make sure the public is aware of what is going on with your district. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dominique. Okay, we are at the end of our questions. So anyone on the state agency child nutrition staff, is there anything you can think of that we have not mentioned that would be helpful? We go through everything ahead of time, so we really try to make sure that we are covered on everything we want to share. So with the silence, I'm thinking that there is not anything else. And we really don't have any other questions. So I think at this point, what we will do is we will close this webinar. We want, again, as a reminder, that we will update our Q&A, get that out on the governor's website. And that Q&A has every single question that has been asked since the beginning of COVID. It's getting pretty long, but we want to just keep adding to it so we can get every question. If you have a specific question, we have grouped them according to topic, If you still can't find the answer to your question, you might want to do a word search, and that might help too, since that document is getting really long. And then we also have every single webinar that we have done that has been made ADA compliant, as our Q&A has also, and it has been put up in archives on the governor's website. So again, thank you so much for everything that you've done. We still don't have any additional questions, so we are going to assume that that is it for now. So again, thank you, and we will talk with everyone next week on our webinar. But again, if you have any questions, email us or give us a call before that time. Again, thank you very much. Bye-bye.